what these 2 months has equipped property consultants, property agents like us is we are being forced to change. If you don't change, you'll be lagging behind and you'll be, out of the market in due time. So the time actually forces a lot of people to adjust themselves to the online channel.
Yeah.
But what I'm afraid of is that a lot of them after this, they will go back to the norm and they were like, since I can do physical viewing, let's eliminate the total virtual situation, which my prediction is it will never go away.
Yeah.
It will be part of us for centuries to come. One of the other aspects is consumers are getting used to it as well. I think that is the most magical, rewarding part that I saw. I mean, for the longest time, they have been like, no, but this forces them to like, I need this, I want this, so it makes everything changes. What I realized is a lot of families in Singapore, or even investors, there's very little knowledge about real estate that they know.
Yeah.
And yet, a property is the biggest ticket item.
Yes.
We potentially buy in our whole life, but yet we have so little knowledge on it.
You've probably heard that your story is your brand. So how can ordinary entrepreneurs and salespeople like you and me tell our stories in a way that cuts through all the noises in this overcrowded social media world and reach the audience that we want? Join me as I break down storytelling secrets that have helped me achieve over 8 figures in revenue, as well as interviewing some of Asia's most prominent names and rising stars to uncover their stories. I hope this show will inspire you to be more vulnerable and share your story to the world, because your mess is your message. My name is Gabriel Wong, and welcome to the Story Impact Show.
Hey everyone, welcome to another episode of the Story Impact Show, a show where we dive into the story of successful entrepreneurs, business owners, high performers, so we can discover what they are doing to be at the top. As usual, if you like my content so far, please help me to smash the like button and to subscribe to my channel, as this will help us with the algorithm of reaching out to more people. We're also picking 2 random lucky winners from our comments, and we're going to give them this free copy of the Traffic Seekers book. Now, we're going to pay for everything, even including the shipping. This is a book that is going to show you how you can get unlimited amount of traffic, leads, and customers into your website and into your funnel. So go ahead and comment whatever you've learned at the end of the video, and we will pick 2 lucky winners every single week. My guest today, together with his partner, has been one of the most consistent top producers in the Singapore property market. But here's the real reason why I've invited him on the show. Despite the recent coronavirus where it causes the circuit breaker and there was no home viewing allowed in Singapore, they were still able to consistently close deals and crush it in the property market. And I personally believe that is because they have a winning mindset. I want this episode to inspire you that whatever situation that you are going through, even in this crisis, that you can turn any crisis into an opportunity if you have the right mindset. So please help me welcome Edmund Tan. Okay, so we are live. Thank you everyone for joining in. Welcome to another episode of Story Impact Show. And today I have with me a very, very good friend of mine. In fact, he's also one of our clients, and his name is Edmund. Edmund, can you just say hi to everyone, hi to the viewers out there?
Hi everyone, thank you Gabriel for inviting me on this show.
Yeah, so awesome. So today, right, I just want to cut to the chase, because the reason why I brought Edmund on, right, because over the past few months, we were facing this whole circuit breaker. We were facing this lockdown in Singapore. And, you know, Edmund, you are in the property space, right? You're a property agent. And what happened is that during this period, you know, even though we are already over, we're in phase 2, you know, people can start doing house visit and everything, home viewing and everything. But back then, it wasn't possible. For how long? How long was it? You guys cannot do any.
2 months.
2 months,
About
right?
2 months,
yeah. Right. So 2 full months of no home viewing, nothing, and just staying at home, right? And I think that is devastating to the industry by itself. I believe during this period, a lot of people quit. A lot of people left to do try to find other sources of income. But what was interesting was that you guys didn't look for other sources of income, didn't switch career or whatever. You guys actually went on, when everyone is saying no, it cannot be done, you guys actually said yes. Yeah. And, you know, you told me that you guys actually closed deals, even during the circuit breaker when you guys can do no home viewing. So I want to talk a bit about that. Like, what is your reaction when circuit breaker was announced, when there was no more home viewing? Like when that happened, right? what was going through your head, and how do you feel about it?
Yeah. Well, I mean, I guess when circuit breaker hits, especially our industry, traditionally it has always been a face-to-face meetup. During our consultations or even during the viewings, you have to see your client, right?
Yeah.
Be it a seller or buyer or investor. So when circuit breaker came in, it's like you can't meet the person face to face. It's kind of a little bit weird, a little bit odd that okay, so how should we actually progress with our business? Uh, to be true, the reality sets in actually immediately when even before COVID happens.
Mm.
When we see the news about what happened overseas, they have more cases than us.
Mm.
That already kind of is a hint and a trigger point for us to like, okay, should we get prepared? Should we get prepared if this really comes into Singapore and we do not know how severe it is? I think the last straw was when Malaysia was having their MCO.
Yep.
And that when that happens, Singapore, it's only a matter of time.
Yes.
Yeah. So we kind of get ourselves prepared for it, but at the same time, we also don't want it to happen. Touch wood, so things will go back as per normal.
Yes.
Everything happy-go-lucky. Yeah, but so when the reality sets in, I guess one of the few things that we do first is we actually calm ourselves down. Like, okay, this is not the end of the world, and this is just a obstacle. In our business, we are all used to obstacles, but this is really a huge hammer down, and then everything stops.
Yeah. It's not just a huge hammer. It's a literally like the whole industry was kind of crushed for a while, right? It was like shut down, total shutdown, right?
Yeah. So actually, when the news came out, right, the first couple of days, I mean, I have to be very, very honest.
Yes.
Everybody was saying that life will still goes on as per normal. You can just continue to do your work, but at the back of my mind, I was like, why would people still go for viewings? Go online to just see and then just purchase or sell. So I too also have that kind of doubt and judgment. Okay, from the day one.
Yeah.
And of course, there's a lot of people who are like they stop for the full 2 months. But for us, it took us a couple of days. And then we were like, okay, this kind of sits in and sunken in, right? Like, okay, this is really something happening. So there are only two ways that you can do about it. One, you take a break, which of course, for many of those who know in our trade, is almost like a 24/7 business, right?
Yeah.
We are always busy, but yet we still want to find time for our own lifestyle.
Yeah.
So I was like telling Cindior, like, shall we just have a break? Why not? I mean, we were done quite a fair bit, last 2 to 3 years. Now is a good time for us to kind of rejuvenate ourselves, compose ourselves and see where we can go and plan.
Yeah.
But when the next couple of days, I was like, okay, I don't think this will last so short. So actually during MCO, which is happening in Malaysia, I already had this thought that if let's say things happen in Singapore, it will not recover so quickly.
Yeah.
So I think that sets us after the first couple of days of like gnawing, like we are relaxing. Okay, why not let's take it a little bit slower down. And when the reality hits that, okay, this is actually bigger than how we are seeing.
Yes.
Even though we have heard the news, I was like, okay, this is for real, man. It's not only just our business, our trade. What about our loved ones? How can we still continue to provide for them? What about our clients? They have a plan. They have a plan. They have a plan that they want to move forward with. Who's going to help them now?
Yes, right. Like for example, if you're gonna buy a house or you're gonna upgrade a house, right? Because you're planning a family or whatever, all these things still have to go on, right? Technically speaking, if you have I don't know if you have someone pregnant in the family, is the pregnancy is not going to stop, right? It's still going to continue to carry on, but yet a lot of agents are just stopping, right? Because they say, hey, you can't do any viewing anymore and everything. So you guys were thinking from the perspective of the client.
Yeah, definitely. It's like, I mean, before circuit breaker, we were already handling quite a fair bit of clients, and being our business model is a lot more advisory and consultation. So we are already in the midst of planning how they should react, even in a crisis like this. So we cannot just say, oh, now circuit breaker, let's just stop, wait after it finish, and then we continue to plan. It's very unfair. It's very unfair. I guess this is not a massive change that we cannot uh, follow through. I guess with the adjustment. So when we put our clients in front of us, that even if we do not want to do anything, the clients will be in trouble. That's when we really wake up and say that, hey, we cannot let this go on for what, 1 month, 2 months, 3 months, we never know, right?
Yeah.
So we immediately went into action, reconnect with our clients to assure them that your plan still continues. There
Yeah.
may be some delay. I have to be very honest. There'll be some delays, there'll be some restrictions here and there, but things will still continue.
Yeah.
I think that's very, very important in terms of the understanding.
Wow.
And I guess when we had that switch, putting our clients first, and immediately after that, we told ourselves like, okay, circuit breaker. I mean, I don't know whether anyone will share with this with you, but we told ourselves that circuit breaker will last minimum 9 months.
Yeah. Wow.
That's
Okay. So the two things I got from this, right? You guys put your client first. So rather than just thinking about yourself, you're thinking, okay, you have responsibility to your client, right, for their plans, and some of them already had certain plans they want to move forward. And instead of putting the plans aside, you guys have to think of other ways to help them to carry on the plan.
Yeah.
Okay. And of course, number two, you guys plan for the worst.
Yeah, plan for the
Right.
worst, man. So I told myself 9 months.
Yeah.
We may be not able to do viewing. We may cannot meet our clients for 9 full months. And what are you going to do?
Mm, mm. That's awesome. But by the way, for those of you who are listening, I think I've shared it in the intro, but Edmund and Cindior, your partner, they are millionaire earners last year, right? And they are the top in the industry. And the reason why I'm asking this question is because you want to be able to see what separates the top people versus the rest of the other people. And it's always the mindset. It's always how we think. And if you think about it, like what they were thinking wasn't how do they survive or how do they, how do they protect their income, but it was more towards how can they continue to serve their client. And the other thing was that they planned for the worst. I remember actually, Edmund, when the circuit breaker was announced, I was telling people, guys, we need to hope for the best, right? Because some people are still hoping for circuit breaker to end on May, right? It eventually got extended another month. And I was telling people, yes, we need to hope for the best, but we also must have the wisdom to plan for the worst.
Totally agree.
Right?
Agree.
So walk us through what happened after that. So you guys cannot sell anything, but you guys want to continue to move on plans with the client. And then you guys started to explore different options. So walk us through, how do you guys continue to help serve your clients? How do you continue to sell the properties for your clients, or even clinch a couple of deals?
So maybe I can give you an example of this client that actually just before circuit breaker starts, we had our consultations with them. Advise them on what they should do with their depreciating property, right? So they know that their property is already aging, and in year after year, their property prices are already coming down. And that's when they got us, and we had a discussion before circuit breaker starts to evaluate what can be done with this current property. And they have a plan, is because they are going to give birth soon. The wife is going to give birth in time to come. So they want to get a bigger space. So because of that, time, you can't wait until circuit breaker to move, right?
Yeah.
You need to move forward with a plan, and with their current property that is aging and depreciating.
Yeah.
So, and as we go into midway into the discussion, circuit breaker starts. So we are unable to sell their property because we can't do physical viewing, and we cannot progress to help them to source for the correct property to purchase.
Yeah.
Which is everything starts. But what changes was, we know that for a fact this family needs help. These families are in a more derailed situation because they have to handle their moving, they have to handle their kids, they have to handle a lot of other stuff.
Yeah.
So we move forward with the plan and give them the assurance that although it's circuit breaker, let us transit online. So everything has been offline, so we transit online. That means we have to start using various ways of online mediums, whether it's webinar, Zoom calls, or even simple things like WhatsApp video.
Yeah.
We have to utilize all these technologies to help us and equip us with the right technology so that our clients can still continue moving forward their plans.
Wow.
Right.
And that, just to clarify, that has never been done before.
Well,
Has that been
yes,
done before?
that has never been done before.
Okay.
The key thing is traditionally real estate has always been a people business.
Yeah, where people have to go to a place and visit a place in order to buy.
Correct. They have to see it, they have to feel it, they have to, be there.
Yeah.
Traditionally.
Yeah.
Yeah. So this has been a huge disruption to how the traditional way has been doing.
Yeah.
Which I definitely enjoy this process more, if you ask me.
So yeah, so one of the most interesting thing was this. The reason why I brought it on is because your mindset is so different from other people that when the circuit breaker was lifted and when we entered into phase 2, right? For those of you who are watching outside of Singapore, phase 2 is where Singapore government allows people to start, going out to restaurants and everything, and home viewing is finally allowed after like close to 3 months, 2 months plus, right? And when I spoke to Edmund actually told me this. He said, I wish it was longer. I wish the lockdown was okay. And that was interesting because I felt the same thing as well. Because I was crushing it. Our agency was doing even better. And I think is pretty much the same thing for you guys, right? Because the fact that people cannot do home viewing, it has limited all your competition. Right? And you guys thrive in that space. So maybe walk me through, right? When you guys first explore into something like virtual viewing and everything that has never been done before, right? What was going through your mind? Like, do you guys know that it was going to work immediately? Like, how was it like when you guys first started? Walk me through that process.
Well, I guess we have some slight advantage and advantage on this because we have been always adopting technology in our business. It's just not to the extreme of replacement. We did not replace like a virtual viewing with a physical one. We did not do that. But it was always an enhancement, meaning we're still using videos, we're still using creations of all this to send to clients in the form of mediums. But because of circuit breaker, we kind of replaced the entire physical viewing to a virtual viewing. So I guess one of the key things that we learn also during this process is it's never about the tools. It's about your system. It's about your process. Your tools can change. The way that you meet people can change. But as long as your process and system is in place and is proven to be effective, any mediums, it will still work.
Got it.
Yeah.
Right.
So that's what we also learn during this process that, we just change lah. You put on the webcam, video call, the process still runs as per normal. Of course, we lack the physical touch lah.
Yeah.
the seeing, but the rest are still the same. So, so this transition actually allows us to have an additional, should I say, arena that we can propose to clients in future.
Yeah.
We will not be restricted anymore.
So that's amazing. So before I touch more on that, right? Just wanted to ask, like, so what if you do mind sharing, or if it's not too sensitive, what was like the result? Do you guys manage to close how many deals, or estimated how many deals do you guys manage to clinch, even when home viewing wasn't allowed?
So during this 2 months, we actually had about, I think, 5 or 6 deals done during this period. Actually, 6 deals.
6 deals.
6 deals done.
That's super awesome, guys. If you're not, listen to these guys, right? While everyone is not doing anything, while everyone is taking a break, they closed 6 deals when there was no home viewing allowed.
Yeah.
Okay, to me, I think that is super impressive. To even believe it in the first place, to go and actually do it, right? That's impressive already. And then to actually be able to do it, okay, when I think most people would say it's impossible.
I believe it's always the first that is the most difficult, because there's a lot of doubts. There's a lot of fear that can this be done? Can this be worked out? Will my system crash? A lot of all these concerns will come in.
Yeah.
We too have the same thing. But we say if we never get the first one right, you'll never know what to improve and what to change. And so once the first deal is done, you're like, this is not that difficult. Let's just continue. So it's a human nature, I guess.
Yes. It's always the breakthrough, right? It's like you gotta just keep sticking it on until you hit the first one. and it
Correct,
becomes
correct.
easier and easier. That's amazing, man. That's amazing. I wanted to ask you, like, so what do you think is the future? Because right now, home viewing is allowed already. I mean, obviously, you guys will probably be doing home viewing rather than virtual viewing. But how has this changed your business, or thinking ahead? Like, how do you think the marketing landscape is going to change for property in the next maybe 6 months or 1 year?
All right. Well, the online medium channel is you cannot forego that. Although property using social medias or online has still very young, I would say only in maybe the last 5-6 years.
Yeah.
But when I first started using online channels was like in the beginning of my business, which is like almost 10 years ago. I believe technology will have a shift in terms of how we do run our real estate business.
Yeah.
And the landscape of future, I guess I always look at the positive part.
Yeah.
What this 2 months has equipped property consultants, property agents like us is we are being forced to change.
Yeah.
If you don't change, you'll be lagging behind and you'll be, out of the market in due time. So the time actually forces a lot of people to adjust themselves to the online channel.
Yeah.
But what I'm afraid of is that a lot of them after this will go back to the norm.
Yeah. So they don't learn from it, right? They don't learn from it. They just go back to the norm.
Yeah, they will go back to the norm, and they were like, since I can do physical viewing, let's eliminate the total virtual situation. Which my prediction is it will never go away.
Yeah.
It will be part of us for centuries to come. It has to be, this kind of arrangement. And in the real estate arena, in the industry, we're already seeing quite a fair bit of changes. Because right now, even trainings, when we are giving trainings, it's no longer we need a physical room, and which we have a limited capacity. We can just run a virtual event and we can just host 5,000 people. Instead of the usual 300 or 500.
Yes, totally. So
so
the cost.
Correct.
Yeah.
So the cost, the time, you're at the luxury of your own place, your car, you can still watch it and you can still learn, which tells me that the efficiency, the productivity, and the time is going to be greatly maximized in years to come.
Yeah.
And that is why I favored all right, I favored this circuit breaker period because it allows me to be more productive.
Yeah.
I do not need to travel. I do not need to wait for car park lots, and a lot of lost time. A lot of lost time.
Yes, traveling from one place to the other place. Right, drinking coffee sometimes, and then chit-chatting for no reason.
Correct. I mean, we still need to have social life, but I'm talking about the business aspect, right?
Yes,
if I need 5 hours to complete a task versus 5 hours I can complete 4 tasks, I would definitely want to do the 4 tasks in 5 hours.
Yeah, 100%.
But this circuit breaker has been very challenging yet rewarding in terms of the experience that we get. So the landscape definitely will change, and we have to uphold this digital world that is definitely real estate has been very slow. I have to be very, very upfront. Has been very slow in adopting technology into the business. So I'm glad circuit breaker came because now the organizations are bring their game up.
Yeah.
They know they need to invest in certain tools. They need to invest in certain infrastructures, resources to make sure that this continues.
Yeah.
And I think one last thing to share also is also that we don't want to just use that means right now if let's say after phase 2 we are able to do physical viewing, and then you jump right into physical viewing, that's not one of our strategy. We are still using a lot of online.
Okay.
And physical viewing becomes almost like a bonus.
Nice.
If you need to do that,
So you guys are still doing online as well, online viewing.
Definitely. We are doing a lot of online viewing still, a lot of virtual consultations still, and if need to, then physical viewings will come out. Yeah.
In fact, I think that's going to save you a lot of time, right? Because in the past, it's always like, okay, from the first meet is you have to meet already, and that is a lot of back and forth, traveling and wasting time. But like right now, you guys can kind of do a combination of both, right? Because you can meet people online first. Hey, they can view online first. I mean, it's also even better for the client. They don't have to always go down just to see the stuff. They see online first. If they like it, then they go down.
Correct.
Right? And there's a higher chance that when you meet you, that there's already a more confirmed deal, rather than, hey, meeting again, traveling back and forth and whatsoever. I personally think that that's really awesome. Like even from a consumer standpoint, like, because I when I go and see properties all the time, I'm traveling from places to places, and sometimes it's just that the place alone is just disappointing. But if I can do virtual viewing first, then I don't have to waste my time going down.
Correct.
So that's
I guess,
interesting. Okay.
yeah, so this is going to be the new wave of, and I'm glad we adopted this early.
Mhm.
We are not so scared of the technology or the virtual situation. And I think one of the other aspect is consumers are getting used to it as well. I think that is the most magical, rewarding part that I saw. I mean,
Yes.
for the longest time, they have been like, no, 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 but this forces them to like, I need this, I want this. So it makes everything changes.
Yes, I have so much to thank for. I mean, of course, all empathy and sympathy to people affected by the viruses, the businesses affected. But I personally feel that this helps the world move forward with the technology that we already have. Like personally, like having a Zoom call with someone, it saves so much time. I mean, it's not that I don't like personal interaction, but you gotta meet up, you're gonna travel, sometimes, and you have so much to do in a day. It's just so hard, right? But I've always been promoting people to meet online, and my clients, a lot of my clients, they are not super. I would say they're not super open to the idea. But right now it's like everyone have to meet up, right? I mean, in the past, even when I say, hey, let's meet up online, download Zoom, they're like, what is Zoom, right? But now nobody don't know Zoom.
Correct.
So the adoption has really picked up so much. And I feel that is actually better for the world, because like people are moving forward and actually using the technology that's already available. The fact is, do you know people don't even know that Zoom has already been around 9 years ago?
Yeah, I was shocked lah. I mean, when they saying that, oh, this is something new, I was like, okay. That means, I mean, you can't blame them lah. They are not in the loop of such technologies.
Yeah. Good. So just to sum it up before I ask you the next question. So basically, for those of you who are listening right now, think about, like the world's not going to go back to normal, right? Even though things are opening right now, whatever. This is a lesson that we are learning. And if you don't learn from this lesson, what if the second wave come? What if something happen again? What if something similar happen again, right? Now it's all about how can we adopt technology and kind of like fuse it to your business right now. And if you don't do it, you're really going to lose out, because your competitors are doing it, right? People like Edmund, they're the top 1%. They are doing it right now, right? So
I think one of like our business mentor, Marshall Turbo, was sharing, this is a structural change.
Yeah, structural change.
This structural change is going to be massive. If you are all in business and we don't adopt and embrace it, we'll be left behind and we can't catch up.
Yep.
So the faster that we adopt and embrace it and change, we'll be moving forward so much faster than the rest.
Yeah, love it. I want to ask you the next question. I want to take a step back and ask you basically the next question. The next question is more towards your own personal life, right? Because I think what I'm very interested about whenever I interview people like you is that I'm always interested to find out like what causes you guys to have this kind of mindset. Because like I like to mix around with people who are top 1%. I like to talk to high performers, the people at the top. And the reason why, it's not that I'm looking down at other people. It is because I admire you guys. I feel that, you guys think differently.
Likewise.
Yeah, thank you. Right. So we think differently, right? In a way, like it's always, I feel it's always the mindset. It's not about the resources we have. It's not about the family background we have, because I heard about your family background, right? So which I want to tap into it. And, to really kind of like figure out how do you develop this kind of winning mindset in the first place. So maybe you can walk us through, especially the audience who do not know about your story. Yeah. How do you start in the first place? Like, was property something that you knew that you're going to do all along? I heard that, when you were younger, you guys didn't even live in a property that you guys own, right? And Singapore ownership, home, by the way, for those international friends of mine, home ownership in Singapore is very high. So to not own a home in Singapore, That means you are
90%,
usually
90%.
90% home ownership, okay? So that means the other 10% who do not own a house. Okay, it means usually you maybe you are having some struggle financially whatsoever, and you are the 10% of them. And so, Edmund, maybe you can tell us a bit more about your backstory and how you started. Like why didn't you guys have a property of your own? What happened?
Well, I mean, I guess it goes back to one keyword is wrong decisions or wrong advice given. Yeah, so when I was younger, my dad, who's the sole breadwinner in the family, has always been a business owner. And of course, you being a business owner, there's always a lot of opportunities coming out, and property is definitely one of them.
Yeah.
So of course, due to one of the wrong decision making during that financial crisis period, he lost all his business and went bankrupt, and indirectly because of the wrong purchases of properties, which kind of, I was only about maybe secondary school time, and when you see a family crash down because of and you don't have the ability to actually help the family, it kind of tore you apart. And seeing how, I mean, I always look at my dad as a role model. He's always been a, tauke. Everybody call him boss.
Yeah.
You know,
Tauke means boss, okay? Tauke means
yeah, tauke means boss. Yeah. So I remember it back in school when the teachers asked me what's the occupation of your dad, because I don't know what he does, ma. So I only put what other people call him. I just put boss, BOSS. Yeah. Yeah, it's only later on that I realized, oh, he does this business, he do that business, So it has always been a, wow, my dad is a role model. My dad is so good. He provides for the family. Everybody calls him boss, So he has always this upside. And of course, I was never a good student back in school. So
Same here.
so back in school, I can gladly say that I love school so much that I spent 8 years instead of the usual 6 years in my primary school time.
8 years in secondary school?
Primary school.
Primary school, okay. 8
Yeah.
8 years in primary school.
Yeah, for those who are watching or listening in, if you are in my era, then you know that primary school does go to 8 years lah. Then you know how old I am. Yeah. So during that, it was a very huge impact in terms of my self-esteem, my confidence level, because you are the, I don't know, maybe just 1% who cannot continue to secondary school, and you have to be extended for another 2 more years to finish out your primary school. So I guess during then it was a hit in terms of my own belief system, my own confidence. And that's when my dad, being a dad, he knows that this is going to impact me for long, which is why I always see him as my role model, because he brought me out indirectly, to expose myself to a lot of situations out there, which is real. I started following him in his business, to tag along his drivers, his employees, and meddle with things in his business. And that's when I actually see how he runs his business. How he see himself as a boss to the others, and how he empathize with his employees. So that actually struck me that, hey, that is the first thought that I said, okay, no matter what, I will not work for people. So I had that understanding very, very young, very, very young. I know I'm not going to work for anyone. And so during then, when my dad was kind of at his peak, so at one time we were moving houses so often. Basically, I've stayed north, south, east, west, everywhere since secondary school. I practically moved like 7 times already.
Okay. And were those the bad decision that your dad made when buying different houses?
Well, part of it, I would say. So we moved from houses to houses, and I didn't know what he was doing. Basically, he was buying and selling multiple times. For us, we are so young, we just enjoy moving lah. Then we just enjoy that. But during the last phase, that's when we started realizing that things are not as nice as we seem, because we are getting older, and we kind of saw certain things that it may not be so right, and that's when the financial crisis came, when 2009 especially, everything came down. he over leveraged. So it has to do with the structures of how our financing system works in the past. Before 2013, 2009, there was no structures in handling speculators. And a lot of people are over borrowing from the banks to purchase their own property in Singapore. So I've done the statistics. Before 2009, most homeowners are using close to 80% of their income to finance a property, which is ridiculous right now. Right now, we are hovering about maybe the 20 to 35% range, which is very
80%. Do you just say 80%?
80. So if let's say you're earning $10,000, you're paying $8,000 for your mortgage, which is over leveraged, because the banks during then and MAS, we do not have structures to protect the framework of our borrowing, and everybody just buys. So Singapore was still very young in terms of the property and the finance game, I would say. Yeah, so during then, of course, my dad being my dad, he also over leveraged. So he was telling us stories that he can buy property with no money down last time. I was like, how do you do it? I mean, we're still hearing it now, right? But yeah, so I'm always very sensitive when it comes to you can buy property with no money down. I mean, I know how it works. It's not the safest. It's actually a lot of risk involved. And unfortunately, my dad was in that state, meaning he over leveraged. The banks was giving him more than he can chew.
Yeah.
And he bought properties more than he can sustain. And when the things came down, everything gone. So we have to end up renting. It's not even a place that we can call our home, because we have to rent it from my dad's brother, for a good 5 to 6 years before we are old enough to start having our own income to support the family and all. So it was very degrading. Imagine if you have been staying in condominiums, you have been staying in landed property, 3-story, 4-story kind of thing, and then go back into a HDB, which is a public housing, small house, everybody stay inside, and you're renting it, you don't even own it.
Yeah.
So 90% of Singaporeans actually own properties. Yeah. And we are the 10% who's renting. So when you go to school, it's like, and you're young, so you feel like malu, lose face. You lose face. And doing then, I mean, this one I have to admit, I do feel very unhappy about my dad doing them. There was a period, I'm like, why do you do this to us? So there was a lot of resentments during then. I was like, come on, you should do better. Yeah, he's a role model, and then he came crashing down. But I couldn't understand then. And when that happens, it also spurred me to actually go into entrepreneurship, to run my own business, to not do what he has done before. And I have brought the past experiences, the failures that I've seen into my own business right now, even in real estate. Yeah, that you can never destroy a family with property, never. Because I'm the young kid growing up, seeing it happen to my own family.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't want to do that to my clients and their families as well. It's a no.
Yeah, and I think that is one of the, in a way, your mission, right? And that's why you're in the property market, because you are providing not just the experience that you have in property, but your own background experience, your own childhood experience into serving your clients.
Yeah.
How long have you been in the property industry already?
Well, so this is kind of contradicting. So since 2009.
Okay.
So when the financial crisis hit, I came into the business. That means during that period when I came in, everything was a crisis. Everything was down. But I think I came in during then with the thirst to really understand the ins and outs of property. Because of the past experiences, I was like, it can't be done this way. Let's figure out what is happening. And that's when I sold off all my other businesses to come into real estate. To really want to make a difference, in decision making and the clarity. I mean, what I realize is a lot of families in Singapore, or even investors, there's very little knowledge about real estate that they know.
Yep.
And yet, a property is the biggest ticket item we potentially buy in our whole life. But yet, we have so little knowledge on it.
Yes, there's so little information. Honestly, there's so little information. Like I think one of the things about Singapore is like, even let's say you're in US, you can buy a few books to learn about a few things, right? Especially let's say you want to buy a property or whatever. There's a couple of books you can actually read. Like for me, I like to read a lot of stuff, right? But in Singapore, you know, you don't really have a lot of like good information. I realized that I can't find a lot of good information. Was that one of the biggest struggle for you when it comes to serving your clients?
Struggle as in the learning part or
Yeah,
knowledge?
the learning, the challenges. What is in fact what is the biggest challenges when it comes to serving your clients in the property market?
Okay, well, so for a start is they know that property is a good asset,
Mm,
but they do not want to spend time to understand it.
okay.
They just want to move quickly, you know, which is something that I will usually not handle. You know, that means they are not my clientele because um, the families that I work with usually we want to understand what are they getting in themselves into
Yeah.
before we even progress. You know, if a client comes in and say that I don't care the consequences in the next 3 to 5 years, you just get me a property, I will take a step back usually and say that, okay, shall we do this slower first?
Okay.
Because
Well,
I don't know, they know, but yet they don't know.
yeah. I think it's always like that, right? Like not everybody wants, not everybody sees a problem, and if they don't see the problem, they don't feel the pain, and you know they don't care, right? But I think you're coming from a space of wanting to help people because of your past experience.
Yeah.
And you know, I like you said, right? Buying a property is the biggest ticket item we can buy in Singapore. All right. For those, I have a small percentage of people who are not watching from Singapore. So for
Okay.
those of you who are not in Singapore, a property can cost, a small little apartment can easily cost you over $1 million.
Agree.
Small apartment, like 2-3 bedroom, small apartment. How many square feet? Like normally?
Right now maybe 700.
Yeah. So that means
700
what?
square feet.
What's the cost per square feet?
1,003 to 1,004 per square feet
so
usually.
so it's really expensive. Okay, so like, and we have so many policies, regulations around it that like if you buy a wrong property, you can get stuck for it for a long time.
Correct.
Yeah, you can't just like flip it anytime you want because of, again, like because of all the speculative players in the past. You know, our government has put in all this kind of measurement. So and that's the reason why, you know, if you buy a wrong property, you get stuck for it for a long time.
I think because that, I mean, I constantly ask myself, what if whoever has sold the property to my dad then had
Mm.
told him that what are the consequences that could happen?
Mm.
He might have changed his mind to do a lot of other things.
Yeah.
But the concern and the problem for most people is we want to buy something, but we never want to accept the consequences,
Mm.
which is very disturbing.
Mm.
And,
Yeah.
you know, so I keep asking myself that if someone just advised my dad that these are not as good, but and let him make the decision himself,
Mm.
wouldn't that be a better choice?
Mm.
That we all have options and we decide it
Yeah.
instead of just following and just do it, right?
Yep. Yeah. So basically giving information and empowering your clients to make the right decision, make better decisions, right?
Correct. I think the better decision is something we cannot afford
Yeah.
in Singapore, especially. One wrong mistake is going to, I mean, just recently, just a 5 years gap, all right, a wrong decision that one of our client has done 5 years ago resulted him in $90,000 difference of
Mm.
losses. Just
Mm.
5 years
Mm.
with just one wrong decision. So it's very scary if you put it into the numbers.
Yeah. Yeah. Awesome. I totally understand. Totally understand that. We're running slightly out of time, so I think I have one last question for you. What is your biggest goal? You know, be it personal or be it in the business for the next couple of years.
Well, the biggest goal in terms of business is really to, you know, pay it forward with the knowledge and the experience that I have,
Mm.
so that we are able to actually empower more families to, for once, actually know what are they getting themselves into in a property purchase, whether it's for your own stay or for investment, it doesn't matter. You know, we need to let you know what is going to happen.
Yeah.
I think, I mean, one of my target is every single year to actually empower at least 150 to 200 families that I personally will speak to and advise them on their property matters.
Yeah.
Yeah. to let them see the light, and maybe just by one change in terms of their decision making, it could actually empower and change the entire landscape of their lifestyle,
Yeah.
with just one change. And that is for the business side, really is on the clients, the families. We want to empower more people, and we really want to share, because property market cycle do change. We cannot adopt a 10 years or 15 years ago strategy today.
Yeah.
And as it progresses, we need to constantly adjust
Yeah.
our method and strategies.
Yeah. 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 Especially in a very different world today compared to like what you said 10 years ago, 15 years ago. You can just buy a property. You can just buy any property, wait for it to go up, right?
All right.
Yeah. But today it's a very different world.
It's really to let more families know where their position is, their current situation, and how they can, go from this situation to a better situation in time to come.
Yeah.
That is very, very important at the current moment.
Awesome. Love it. Just final thing before we end this call, how can my audience find you, right? And by the way, guys, Edmund is one of the best people that you can find when it comes to your property matters. And I mean, personally, I recommend him. And I mean, that's also one of the reasons why we work with him. We don't just work with any client, we choose the kind of clients that we work with. And Edmund is definitely one of the best in the game in Singapore. So maybe Edmund, you can just share a bit where is the best place they can find you?
Well, we do have, we're actually on all social medias, even on Facebook, if you want to search for us. Actually, all the social medias, Facebook, YouTube, even Instagram, you can just search Singapore Real Estate Insider.
Okay.
Singapore Real Estate Insider. Yeah, because we want to transform all family owners into real estate winners, adopting our real estate R.E.I method.
Yeah.
That is exactly what we want to do for everyone.
Okay, got it. So you guys can look for Edmund and also Edmund's partner Cindior by searching for Singapore Real Estate Insider. We're going to put all the relevant link and link to their social media platform whatsoever. So if you guys need to look for them, you guys can actually look for them in the description. We're going to put the links in the description for wherever you're watching this, whether you're listening to this on a podcast or you're watching this on YouTube. You'll be able to find links to find Edmund from in the description itself. All right. So thank you so much, Edmund. I really appreciate you joining us. Thank you so much, and thank you, listeners, people who are watching this for tuning in. And if you have gained something so far from this, let us know in the comment section. If you are following our YouTube, every week we are picking. If you are subscribing to our channel and you are commenting on our channel, every week we are picking 2 lucky winners to give them a free copy of the Traffic Secrets book. We pay for the shipping. So go ahead and subscribe our channel, like this video, and comment on this video what is your biggest learning, and we will pick 2 lucky winners to win the Traffic Secrets book. Thank you so much, Edmund. I really appreciate the time today. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you for inviting me. All right, cheers.